Welcome back to the Lunge Test Challenge. I am Dara Lewis, your host, and this is Revan. So, with the lunge test, we are going through our second evaluation before we call the Bent Brander up trainer for instructions. This is one of a few evaluations, so bear with me in that. So here we are starting off. I wanted to show us putting on our equipment because there was a video that I showed in how to put on and size up a Longe cavesson, and in that he was quite fidgety, and because he was quite fidgety there was some question in my training methods to as to whether or not I can actually get a horse to do whatever I would need them to do. And yes, I can, in a positive manner where they, the horse actually stands still because they want to, not because they have to. So this is our norm. He doesn't always fidget like that. He actually seems to, enjoy putting this on because it means groundwork. But I just wanted to put that out there as a thing for the internet to observe. And here we will start our training. So here's our timeline. The prior timeline, of course, is about a month before. So we are about a month behind on our original timeline, but we had some Liberty stuff that we needed to do because of a Liberty course that we were taking, but that's okay because he was getting kind of bored with the whole groundwork routine all the time. We were kind of going over the same stuff, and he started just his mind just started drifting. So when we introduced the Liberty element of it, he really kind of woke up. The other thing that we introduced is the low value rewards versus high value rewards. I was feeding him a lot of high value rewards, which was putting him under kind of a lot of anticipatory stress. So once we introduced the low value rewards, he calmed down quite a bit and became way less nippy. Because it's not positive reinforcement training that makes them nippy, it's how you present it, and I wasn't presenting it quite as nuanced as it should have been. But now it's way better. He's extremely more motivated, not nippy, unless he wants to play nippy games. But that's a different thing for a different day, different explanation. But in this one, we're going to be going over what we've been working on, which is collected shoulder in straight and school halt from shoulder in. No, it was forward down and shoulder in straight, Revan on the diagonal, and then the new thing is collected shoulder in straight and school from shoulder in. I am currently shelving the lunge stuff right now. I know it's called Lunge Test Challenge, and we're shelving lunge, but he's been having some distancing issues and things that we've been addressing at Liberty, and it's been getting better, but I want to try to address it more and then reintroduce it later. I think that will be more beneficial for him. But we shall see how that works out. But the first thing that we're going to be getting into within a couple of seconds is forward down, shoulder in, straight. And this has been actually quite beneficial in a way that I didn't quite expect. And you'll see in his collected shoulder in straight when we get to that part. But with my position at the groundwork position, I usually slide into kind of more of the lunge work position, but that was making him overbent. So because of my position changes, he assumes that we're doing Revan. So he's kind of relearning that it's not just about my positioning, it's also about the aids. So he's kind of getting that in there. And he tends to have this thing about getting overbent in the shoulder in only because I start walking really slow and he wants to walk faster. So since I still have his head, his neck kind of bends too much because his body wants to go faster. we're working on that. I'm working on my pacing. But he's getting it. But this is the forward down, relaxed shoulder in. And you can see he gets it better on this side, which is ironically his quote harder side. But I think he got the concept better going the other direction, and then he's like, okay, I got this, Mom. Which, you know, he doesn't really got this, but he thinks he does. The Haver on the diagonal, that turned out a lot better than I thought it would. Although Haver is kind of one of his favorite things to do, so I shouldn't be surprised that he is okay with this. We've been kind of working on the Haver pirouette, the walking pirouette, so it's a little bit different. So the diagonal, he kind of takes some question steps, so like these collected slow steps that are a little bit out of cadence, but only because he's kind of trying to feel where I'm asking his feet to go, which is positive in my opinion. Once he gets it better and he strengthens those stabilizing muscles, he will get it quite a bit better. And here we go. Diagonal. His shoulders are leading, although he does straighten out quite a bit. There he goes. Once he figures out what we're doing, he does have to place his feet differently, so that's why he's a little shaky on this. The collected shoulder in straight. So this is going to be the first time we've done collected shoulder in straight in a long time. And you can see, like, he's walking faster, he's more relaxed, and this is what I'm talking about. We were practicing the forward down shoulder in, and because of that, he's so much more relaxed in the collected shoulder in. It's like he can now both collect and relax at the same time, which I didn't quite expect that, but it's been a good journey for us to learn. So he's got this like full-on walk. Like, I can't walk fast enough backwards for him, which is amazing because when we get to riding this, it'll be really nice. So school halt from shoulder in. Now he was a little confused with this one because we usually, if we're going to do a bent school halt, we usually do it from the Haver. So doing it from the shoulder in is definitely a different exercise for him. I think it uses a different muscle group, but I can't be sure at this moment. But right now I'm doing it straight to kind of get him into that mode of thinking. There he goes. He does a nice school halt after kind of working it through. I think he's still kind of working on how to get his body to really do it properly. And one of his hamstrings is a little stiff. So doing this bent school halt kind of forces him to use those muscles instead of compensating with the other leg. And like I said, forcing isn't really a great word because he's going through a little bit of discomfort. If he had sharp pain, he A, wouldn't do it, and B, he would be kicking out and biting me. Because he's one of those horses that's very honest about things, which I like. So he wouldn't even be trying if it hurt really badly. I think it's just a little sore. But he seems to work through some soreness pretty easily. He's been kind of exercising himself out in the field quite a bit because he's super playful. So I'm trying to get him into a shoulder in and halt, which is kind of turning into kind of a passade sideways thing, which is kind of impressive because he hasn't dropped his shoulder at all. He's really trying to do the right thing, but he really doesn't want to halt in that shoulder in position. He's like, can I just do this other thing instead? I'll do it really, really good. And there he goes. Yep, and then that's the reward. Because he did really well. Even though it was a little more straight than I'd like, he did a really good job. Now for these next school halts that we're going to be, it's like a series of school halts that we've done because he just kept doing them. Watch for his thoracic and lumbar back and his spine. They will lift significantly, which is good, and that's exactly what we're looking for. It's kind of like, so a school halt should be kind of like a midsection lift, kind of like those you tickle their belly at, you know, when they're tied up and they lift their back a little bit. This is a more extreme version of that. So like he can lift his spine and straighten it out almost a half an inch to an inch difference. And this is because we've been doing these suppling exercises for years and years. He's just starting to do more school halt as he is older now. I've been careful about not introducing too much pelvic engagement, like extreme pelvic engagement, until he's older, and he is now older. So, even though I'm not riding him, it's still quite a lot of engagement, even though when he had gelding friends at, 2 years old, he still had so much pelvic engagement, he would rear up on them in play, which they would rear up on him too. So you can see he wants to balance. He doesn't really want to use that left leg, and that's where his psoas is a little stiff. I noticed when I was grooming him. But yeah, look at that mid-back, how he lifts it. And that's exactly what we're looking for, and he's got that down at least. Because if you have a school halt where you're squatting but then not lifting, it's still not a correct school halt. That middle spine has to really, his abdominals have to really engage and lift his back. But it takes quite a bit of time to really get the horse to understand this. And you can see how much he swings. If you're one of my students, and you would know that when you first work a horse into starting school halt training, the leaning is like a half an inch. It's a very small difference, but it becomes a large difference if you work on it. And here, I mean, we're beyond just leaning back. We're now, let's lean back and engage your hindquarters and lift your spine. And the lifting of the leg should be because they're lightening their forehand so much. He likes lifting his left leg because what he'll do is he'll go diagonally, where he'll lean most of his weight on his right hind and then lift his left shoulder, which is quite interesting how that has worked out naturally. Because his other leg, he will tend to drop the other shoulder and not want to lift the other leg, even though we kind of work into doing that, because he knows. He shows us in Liberty. He knows that if we do something on one side, we have to do it on the other side. He shows us in Liberty really well, because when we do something on the one side, he will automatically change sides and start the exercise over again. So I already know he understands this, whether or not he wants to do it. And see, he's trying. He really lifted that right shoulder better, but you can see he immediately changed over to his left when he wanted to do a more extreme school halt. Here he's testing to see what exactly he should do in order to unlock that trait. He's like, okay, can I just raise my leg? Do I have to do the whole thing? Do I just engage my core? So this is him really searching, and this is how a horse really learns and solidifies something in their mind, is if they work through it. If they're just forced into something, they will just shut off and not actually learn the thing. They're just going to learn how to react to things. This is him learning actions. Yep, he did that all on his own. So this is him learning how to act and think. So this gets him into a state of mind and trains his brain to kind of make those more connections in the thinking, logic portion of his brain than and less connections in the reactionary part of his brain, even though he's always going to have that because he's, a horse, and they are reactionary because they're prey animals. But here I'm trying to get him to move out because I'm like, this is enough school halt. We've done this like a solid, 6 or 8 minutes. But again, he's wanting to do that and go back into it, which is okay. That was a nice one. So at this point, I'm starting to think we should end because he's starting to kind of like lose enthusiasm, but keeping interest. So I want him to get one last good one, and then if he offers one more thing, we'll go with it, and then we'll end. He's so cute. As you can see, he's resting that leg. You can see he's getting kind of tired. That was nice. Right there. I'm kind of trying to get him to lift the other leg, though. But he did a really good form, so I'm like, I'll reward it. That was nice. And you can see he's kind of trying to avoid doing that. So he started offering the Havre. So I said, okay, we've been doing school hall for a long time. Let's just do Havre, because it looks like you want to do it. So there we go. And that was nice. So that's where I'm ending, because I want to end kind of right before he hits his threshold, when he starts getting tired, but he's still kind of quite interested in his work. Kind of leaving him wanting, which is something that you want. So his max is about 20 minutes in a session, but he does really well because we do a Liberty session before we bring him in. I bring him in for grooming. So it's about a 10 to 15 minute Liberty session, and then bring him in for a groom and some, munch, and then I bring him back out and do 20 more minutes. So he actually has a pretty good attention span for this stuff, as long as we do something slightly different. And I've been doing this more recently. I'll stick a bunch of low value reward in there with some electrolyte at the end to just kind of signify we are finishing up. This is the last thing, and he knows not to expect anything else. This has really been helping. When I leave, he's not just sitting there staring at me like, are we done? But thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I really appreciate you guys, patrons, and all of you supporters. So I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.